Good evening, children. In today's class, we are going to study what are the advantages of manure. See, in the last class, we have studied what is manure and what are the fertilizers. And we have already studied that what is the difference between manures and fertilizers, everything clearly in last class. So, in today's class, we will see what is the main advantages of using of manure for crop production or else fertilizers for growing the crops. So if we'll take, we know that if it comes to the first about manure, so we know that manure is a what? Manure is an organic material. Organic material. Like fertilizers, it is synthesized by humans in the factories, but it is in the normal agricultural land itself we can produce this manure. So the organic manure is considered better than fertilizers. Understand? So compared to the fertilizers, see, even though fertilizers is having more advantages, we may get proper more yield from the crop and all. These are so many advantages. We can provide a specific nutrients to the crops and all. We have studied in last class. But compared to fertilizers, using manures, because manure is an organic material, so the organic manure is considered better. Understanding means instead of using the fertilizer, if we use this organic manure, then it is having so many kind of uses, means advantages. Now we will study what is the advantages of this manure. So if we'll take the first advantage is, if we'll use this manure, means this organic manure, then it will enhances, means what it is, it will increases the water holding capacity of the soil, means the amount of water, means the storage capacity of soil will increases. What is the storage capacity? Means the amount of water which will store in particular soil will be increases, because if you will add the manure. So manure enhances. This is the first advantage of organic manures, better than fertilizers. Usage of organic manure is considered better than fertilizers because manure enhances the water holding capacity. Water holding capacity of the soil. Water holding capacity of the soil. Like that, if you do the next advantage is manure makes the soil porous. Porous means what? Containing holes. Means if you take any kind of like what we can say that cloth is also having small pores. Correct or not? Like that, a sieve, any kind of sieve which we are using to like what we can say that to remove the unwanted substances from the wheat flour or rice flour and all. So we'll use some kind of a kind of metal substance which is having a like a ring which is having a small holes. Correct or not? So that is only called as porous medium. So this manure, if we'll add the manure to the soil, so manure makes the soil porous, means makes the soil porous. So porous means containing holes, small holes, porous. So due to which the exchange of gases becomes easy. Exchange of gases becomes easy. Means easily the gases will go inside the soil from the air because it contains holes. So like that, the next advantage is manure increase the number of useful microbes in the soil. Means the manures will add the required microorganisms which will help to grow the crop. Understanding? So that is why the biggest advantage of manure is manures increases the number of useful microbes. Number of useful microbes in the soil. Means microbes means which will helpful to grow the crops. Means which will useful to grow the crops healthily. Means they will supply some kind of required nutrients for the plants Understanding? So that is why. So this manure will add these microbes to the plants. Like that, manure improves the texture of the soil. Means the structure of the soil also will improve. Means the strength or the shape of the soil will be improved because of adding the manure. So manure improves the texture, texture, texture of the soil. Texture of the soil. So these are the four main advantages of organic manure is considered better than fertilizers. Better than fertilizers. Like that, this is all what we are replenishing the understanding. Replenishing, you remember this word is most important. Replenishing. So replenishing means, see, suppose if I am cultivating the some kind of crop in a same land, so what is going to happen? So that land contains some amount of nutrients, correct or not? So if you are cultivating some crops continuously, so that nutrients will be lagging. It means that nutrients will be utilized by the crops. So later again you are cultivating the same crops or else the same field, then what is going to happen? The plants cannot get the required nutrients, so it will become nutrient less land. Understanding? Means it is not good for the cultivating. So that is why we have to reform that nutrients again, the required nutrients for the plants. That is only called as replenishing. Understand? So if you'll observe in these advantages of manures, everything is what? It is adding some kind of manure. Understand? It is adding some kind of nutrient, required nutrient for the growing of plant. So that is only called as replenishing the soil. Means reformation, refilling the nutrients inside the soil is called as replenishing the soil. Replenishing the soil. So this replenishing we can done, understanding, with nutrients such as nitrogen. So in last class we have studied that NPK. So in that the first one, N means what? Nitrogen is through crop rotation also. Crop rotation. So if we'll add any kind of manure or fertilizers, nitrogen we can provide, even though the replenishing understanding, replenishing the soil with nutrients such as nitrogen is through crop rotation also. Means if we'll rotate the crop, means if you are keep on changing the crop, suppose one kind of crop if you have cultivated in this particular land, suppose I have considered I am having this much land. Now I have cultivated some kind of suppose let me imagine groundnut. This time I have cultivated groundnut. So later, instead of again cultivating groundnut, I will change this into another crop like peas or beans or some kind of gram, or gram means we can call it chana. So like that, if you are changing, understanding, means the same crop is not repeating, not cultivating continuously. Instead of continuously cultivating, if you will keep on changing, that is only called as crop rotation. Then by the time this again with the natural, understand, due to the nature, again like such a nutrients like nitrogen will reform in the soil. Understand? So this is the another method of replenishing the soil, that is only crop rotation. That is also we'll study in detail. So before we discuss crop rotation, understanding as a means of improving the fertility of the soil. See, this is all why we are doing this, all to improve the fertility, means to make the soil fertile, means which will healthy land we can call it as, because land which can it is a source of all the required nutrients of growing crops is called as a fertile land. So to improving the fertility of soil, we should know something about, understanding, plants called as, means types of crops called as leguminous and non-leguminous crops. Understanding? So I will explain you what is leguminous and non-leguminous crops. So understanding, so crop rotation is a means of improving the fertility of soil. We should know something about leguminous plants, or understanding and about leguminous plants or leguminous crops. So we are having two different kinds of crops, that is leguminous and non-leguminous crops. So now we'll see what is leguminous crops. So leguminous, Leguminous. What it is? Legu, and spelling is most important. Leguminous. So leguminous plants, or else we can call it as leguminous crops. So both are same. So we need to know leguminous crops. So if we'll take the crops like pulses, understand? So I'm erasing this. You just need note down these points. These are the advantages of manures. Understanding? So if we'll take the crops like pulses, understanding? Peas, understand? Like beans, understand? Like groundnut, gram. So gram means what? Also we can call that chana. So like these crops are leguminous crops. Are you able to understand? So leguminous crops means the root, understanding, nodules of leguminous plants have nitrogen fixing bacteria, understanding, so which can directly fix or convert the nitrogen gas present in air to form nitrogen compounds. Means plants cannot absorb nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, means from the air. So someone, they need to take that nitrogen, means directly they cannot take from the air. So that is why they will take the nitrogen in the form of nitrogen containing compounds. Means nitrogen is not present alone, it will mix with some other substance and it will form the new product. So that is only called as nitrogen compounds or nitrogenous compounds. Understanding? So these are leguminous crops. The root nodules of leguminous plants. Means if we take suppose a groundnut or any kind of leguminous plants, if we take, if we consider the root. So let me imagine this is the root. So I'm zooming in now. So if you'll imagine this root, it is having this all kind of leguminous crops like pulses, peas, beans, groundnut, gram, and even a clover. Clover means bersim, we can call it as. This is also leguminous plant only, bersim. So these all plants, understanding, the root nodules, this is called as nodules. So these root nodules, understanding, of leguminous plants have nitrogen fixing bacteria. So they are having some kind of bacteria on their these roots. So that bacteria is called as, if you want, you can just try to plug the groundnut from the any kind of field and you can see that on the roots nodules you can see that some kind of bubbles are it is looking like a bubbles on it. It is not a smooth root, it is having some kind of up and down surfaces. So this up surfaces is having a nitrogen fixing bacteria, understanding, that is only called as rhizobium bacteria. You may have heard this word already, understanding. So the who is the fixing, who is which bacteria, the name of bacteria who is going to fix the nitrogen in this leguminous plants, means who will supply, who will convert the nitrogen gas present in air to form nitrogen compounds to supply the plants, because nitrogen is one of the most important nutrients for the growing of plants. So that is only called as rhizobium bacteria. So the spelling of rhizobium bacteria is RHIZOBIUM, rhizobium bacteria. So the nitrogen fixing bacteria is name is rhizobium bacteria, which can directly fix or convert. So this bacteria, see, plants cannot take this nitrogen from the air. So they will take the, see, these roots can provide the shelter for this bacteria. So this, for the seeking help from these plants, see, this plant is providing shelter for this bacteria. So this bacteria is also helping for the plants because plant is helping for it. So it will fix this, convert this nitrogen from the atmosphere and it will supply to the plant in the form of nitrogen compounds. Understanding? So leguminous crops have the ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen to form nitrogen compounds. Understanding? Through whom? Through nitrogen fixing bacteria called as rhizobium bacteria. So these nitrogen compounds go into the soil and improves its fertility. Are you able to understand? So that is the importance of this rhizobium bacteria. Understand? So some of these nitrogen compounds are used by the leguminous crop for its own growth, and the rest of nitrogen compounds are left in the soil. So these bacteria can convert a large number of nitrogen compounds, means nitrogen containing compounds, Understanding? But in that, some of the portion will be used by the leguminous crop for its own growth, because nitrogen is one of the most important nutrient for the growth of the plant, even in the humans also. So some amount of these nitrogen compounds are useful for its own growth, and the rest of the nitrogen compounds are left in the soil. So planting leguminous crops like pulses, peas, beans, groundnut, gram, and clover, like etc. Clover means what? Bersim. So this all, what is going to happen in a field results in nitrogen rich soil. Means if we cultivate this kind of crops in our soil, so this soils, what is going to happen? These crops, they can improve the, understand, it will result in nitrogen rich soil. Means after cultivating this kind of crops, the soil contains a large amount of nitrogenous compounds. Understand? So the planting of a leguminous crops in a field has the same effect as adding nitrogenous fertilizer in the field. Understanding? So instead of adding nitrogenous fertilizers to the crop, if we'll cultivate this kind of leguminous crops in a field, then both is having the same effect on the soil. Understand? So since a leguminous crops can fix the atmosphere, understand, means atmospheric nitrogen themselves by using nitrogen fixing bacteria present in their root nodules. Understanding? Root nodules. Therefore, nitrogenous fertilizer is not required for growing leguminous crops. Understanding? So if it comes to the like other crops, not instead of like these crops, other crops like wheat, maize, paddy means rice, and millet, etc. are non-leguminous crops. Understanding? Means which do not have the ability to fix the nitrogen gas of air into nitrogen compounds. Understanding? So that is why for that, like these crops like wheat, maize, paddy, and millet, we have to add manually. Understanding? Means a nitrogenous fertilizers, then only they will get the nitrogen for their growth. Understanding? So while keeping these points in mind, now we will study what is crop rotation. This is the most important one, crop rotation. So next concept is crop rotation. See, understanding that is the difference between leguminous and non-leguminous plants. So leguminous plants means plants those can fix the nitrogen by themselves with the help of bacteria. Understanding? Means nitrogen fixing bacteria are called as leguminous plants, and non-leguminous plants which they cannot fix the nitrogen or convert the nitrogen gas of air into nitrogen compounds is called as non-leguminous crops. Understand? I hope you may clear about the leguminous and non-leguminous crops. Now, so instead of adding the nitrogenous fertilizers to the soil, we know that we are having an alternative. That is what? You just change from the leguminous crops to, non-leguminous crops to leguminous crops, then automatically soil will fertile, highly fertile with the nitrogenous or nitrogen compounds. Understand? So for that, what is the only way? That is crop rotation. Means continuously changing the different crops in same land. So that is only called as crop rotation. What we used to call? Means one time we used to cultivate leguminous crops, and next time we used to change it into a non-leguminous crops. Like that, you have to be changing. It's like a cyclic form. Continuously, you need to change the another crop in the same field. Then it is called as crop rotation. So we have already studied that by using crop rotation also we can increase the, understand, we can enrich the soil fertility. Understanding? So that is only we used to call as what? The replenishing the soil. Understanding? Even with the crop rotation. So now we'll see what is the, see, this crop rotation is having also much importance in our getting a proper yield. So that is why we need to study what is crop rotation. So the fertility of soil can also be improved by crop rotation, replenishing the nutrients. Understand? So the practice in which different types of crops means like leguminous crops and non-leguminous crops are grown alternatively one after one. Understanding, if one time if we'll cultivate leguminous, next time you have to change it into non-leguminous crops. It may be a same kind of crop or different kind of crop, but must be one time leguminous or another time non-leguminous are grown alternatively in the same field or soil is called as crop rotation. Understanding? So in crop rotation, the cereal crops like wheat, understand, maize, understand, see here we are writing this all crop, wheat, maize and all, what it is, non-leguminous crops. So like wheat, maize, paddy and millet are grown alternatively with leguminous crops like pulses, peas, beans, groundnut and clover, like etc. in the same field. So then that is only called as crop rotation. Then our soil will become more fertile. So for example, let me take, when a cereal crop like maize crop is grown first, I have cultivated maize or corn. Understanding, maize crop is cultivated first. Understanding, it takes away a lot of nitrogen from the soil for its growth. Understanding, so and makes the soil nitrogen deficient. Nitrogen deficient means nitrogen is lagging in the particular soil, because maize is required a lots of amount of nitrogen to grow properly. So that is why. So after cultivating this maize crop in a particular field, then this field is nitrogen deficient. So and next, when the leguminous crop like pulses or groundnut is grown in the same field, or else groundnut or any kind of pulses. So if you'll cultivate, then what is going to happen? Then in the same field, then the leguminous crop with its nitrogen fixing bacteria enriches, means again reforming, understanding, enriches the soil with nitrogen compounds and increases its fertility again. Replenishing, understanding, fertility again. Understanding? So in this way, and when another kind of cereal crop like wheat is grown after this groundnut, wheat is grown after that, then wheat again it will comes to non-leguminous crop. So it will utilize this extra nitrogen from the soil for its growth and produce again what? A bumper crop. So if you want to produce like a very good crop, it will utilize the much nitrogen from the soil. Understanding, bumper crop we can call it. A very nice crop means a very good proper yield. Bumper crop. Understanding? Understand? Like in this way, rotating different crops means a leguminous and non-leguminous crops in the same field replenishes the soil with nitrogen naturally and leads to increase the crop production. Understanding? So in this case, if you are doing like this crop rotation method, so there is no need to add the manual, means a fertilizer, synthetic fertilizers manually to the soil. Understanding? So naturally only nitrogenous fertilizers is reforming in the soil. Understand? So it will lead to increase the crop production if you will do the crop rotation. So the rotation of crop has the a few main advantages. It is having so many advantages. Now we'll study what are the main advantages of crop rotation. Understand? Just keep heading advantages of crop rotation. Okay. So if we'll consider the first one, the first advantages. So the advantages of crop rotation is rotation of crops improves the fertility of the soil by replenishing it with, understanding, replenishing it with what? With nitrogen, and hence brings about an increase in the production of food grains. Understanding? So if nitrogen is increasing means what? The production of the yield also will increase. So a rotation of crops improves the fertility of, that is the first one, improves fertility. Understanding? Improves fertility of the soil by replenishing it with nitrogen and hence brings about an increase in the production of food grains. Means yield will increases. Food, so grains yield will increase. Yield will increase like that. The next advantage is rotation of crops saves a lot of nitrogenous fertilizers. Means they no need to add nitrogenous fertilizers. Nitrogenous, understanding? So means nitrogen containing compounds, fertilizers is called as nitrogenous. Understanding? NOUS, nitrogenous fertilizers. Means the fertilizers which are made with nitrogen is one of the substance, raw material, fertilizers. So these fertilizers, nitrogenous fertilizers, so we can save the lot of nitrogenous fertilizers. Understanding? This is because the leguminous crops grown during the rotation of crops, during the rotation of crop can fix atmospheric nitrogen with the help of their nitrogen fixing bacteria, and there is no need to add nitrogenous fertilizers to the soil. So these are the two biggest. No need to add. So these are the advantages of crop rotation. Understand? So with this, advantages of manures and advantages of crop rotation is over. How we can replenish the nutrients in the soil is done by in this ways. Okay. Now the next practices. Till now we have studied two practices of crop cultivation. Correct or not? So the next practices is what? Irrigation. What is? The next practices is, see, till now two over, and the next one is what? Understanding? Irrigation. You just keep heading irrigation. 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 Understanding? So we know that all the crop plants need water. See, water is the essential organ, essential substance which is for all the living organisms for their growth or else any kind of daily activities. Even a human life cannot even imagine even a single day without water, because per day we are using it's like a averagely a human can use per day 150 liters of water for their all the needs. So like that, even we cannot even imagine our everyday activities without water. So water is the most essential substance for the human growth or human activities, like that. If it comes to the plants also, any kind of crop plants, they need water for their growth. They need water for their growth. So we know that without providing water, no plant can grow properly. So the crop plants absorb water from the soil. Means with the help of their roots, they will absorb the soil. Like drinking, we can drink through mouth, but trees, they cannot drink because they are not having in a motion. They will be in a fixed position, so they will suck the water through the roots with the help of roots from the soil. So the amount of water in the soil is not constant throughout the year. Is it correct or not? Few days, if it comes to the seasonal wise, the amount of water which is stored in even water ponds or village ponds and all will be, it is not in a constant way always. It is decreasing, increasing. Few times it's heavy rains, more water, no rains, summer, heavy, it's like a draft like that. So the amount of water in the soil is not constant throughout the year, not even constant in all the places. Understand? So water from the soil is lost constantly by evaporation. Understanding? By evaporation. So we know that evaporation means what? Converting water from liquid state to gas state in the presence of sunlight, means naturally, is called as evaporation. So if you will, with manually, if you will start heating the water by providing fire, then it is called as boiling. What we used to call? That is called as boiling. So in this case also, we are converting liquid into gas, and this means water is converting liquid state to gas state. Heat is called as boiling, which is manually we are providing heat manual. If it is done by nature, then it is called as evaporation. So from the soil is lost, water is lost. Understanding? Water from the soil is lost, means continuously losing, lost constantly by evaporation and percolation to lower depths of the ground. Understand? So percolation, what is the percolation? See, in class 7th, we have studied in the soil chapter what is percolation. Means amount of water absorbed per, understanding, milliliter per minute. You may heard that. The amount of water which will be absorbed by the soil per 1 minute is called as percolation. So, due to evaporation and percolation, 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 the units of percolation is milliliter per minute. Understanding? So, or else a liter per minute you can write it. Okay, liter per minute. So both are okay. So percolation rate. So through the process of evaporation and percolation to lower depths of the ground. So due to the constantly water is evaporating from the soil. So what is going to happen? The understanding percolation to the water level is decreasing. Means it is going very deep depths of the ground. So therefore, it is necessary to supply water to the crop plants. Even you can observe, olden days water is present everywhere. Nowadays we are digging through borewells and all, drill rigs and all not. We are digging even 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet, because the depth of the water in ground is decreasing every day, because wastage of water, usage of water is much increased because of increasing human population. Understanding? So like that, so many kind of other reasons. Even evaporation rate is increases because of global warming, sunlight, the temperature is increasing day by day. So due to this all reason, the lowers the depth of the ground, means the water level is decreasing. It is going deep on, going inside. It means it is not going inside. Amount of water is decreasing. That is understanding. You don't think that depth of the water it is going down means water is going down. It is not going down. Understanding? Means we are using the water which is present in the upper layers, so we are digging the water from the lower levels. Understand? So it is necessary to supply water to the crop plants in the fields periodically, means regularly. For the different crops we need to provide a different amount of water. So regularly we have to provide the same amount of water for a particular crop. If not, it cannot grow properly. So the process of supplying water to crop plants in the field is called as irrigation. Understanding? So once again I'm saying you, the process of supplying water to crop plants in the field is called irrigation. What do we used to call irrigation? So just as we cannot survive without water for a long time, in the same way plants also cannot survive without water for a long time. Understanding? For example, if we stop watering plants, understanding, watering means pouring water, watering plants grown in our home for a considerable time, it's like a 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, like that, then plants become pale, means they are not will be a active mode. You can see that all the leaves are in a very dull mode. They will become pale. Understanding? And wilt, and ultimately they will die. Wilt means they will like in a squeezed stage, going to die. Understanding? They will be in pale and wilt, means leaves will fall down, like that it will become, it's like a drying stage. Understanding? Means they will lose the water, means they will be like a suppose dehydration stage. How it will be like that, the plants will become, that is only called as wilt, and ultimately it will leads to death of the plant, means plants will die. Understand? So water is absorbed by the roots of the plants. Understanding? Always who will supply the water for the plants? Roots only. From the roots it will suck. Understanding? With the help of roots it will suck the water from the soil. So along with the water, minerals and fertilizers are also absorbed by the crop plants. So plants contains a nearly, understanding, 90% water. Like humans also, 90% plants they contain water, because water is the most essential substance for every living organisms. Understanding? So now next we are going to study, see what is irrigation. Irrigation is the process of supplying water. You please note down the definition. The process of supplying water to crop plants in the fields is called as irrigation. Understanding? That is the most important practices, because without water plants cannot grow, they will die. Understand? So now we will study why is irrigation is necessary? Means what is the importance of irrigation in crop production? Understand? You just please keep heading. The next concept is why is irrigation necessary? Understand? So we know that what is the importance of irrigation in crop, any kind of cultivation or else agriculture or farming. So what is the first one? We just keep heading what it is. Why irrigation is necessary? Why irrigation is necessary? So if it comes to the first advantage or necessary of irrigation, is like before plowing, the fields makes the soil soft, due to which the plowing of fields become easier. Understanding? See, even you can see that the plowing of soil, any kind of soil, when we can plow the soil after rain, because the rain means what? This water means what? Irrigation, supplying of water to the soil is called as irrigation. So if we'll do this irrigation before plowing the fields, makes the soil very soft, means soil will become loose because of wet absorbing a water. So then we can plow the fields easily. That is the first understanding, necessary of irrigation. Like that, irrigation is necessary to provide moisture. Understanding the required amount of moisture. See, without moisture, seeds or any kind of small plants, they cannot grow, or else seeds cannot germinate. So the irrigation is necessary to provide moisture for the germination of seeds. Means the growing of seeds, germination of seeds. Are you clear? Germination of seeds. So this is because seeds do not grow in dry soil. They cannot, any kind of seed or plant, they cannot grow in dry soil. So like that, the next point is irrigation is necessary to maintain moisture of soil for healthy crop production. The healthy crop means the plants required amount of water for their growth, healthy crop. So irrigation is necessary to maintain the moisture of soil for healthy crop. Understanding? Healthy crop growth. Healthy crop growth. So as to get good yield, it is this to healthy yield. Get good yield. So like that, the next necessity of irrigation is necessary for the absorption of nutrient elements by the plants from the soil. So absorption, see that they cannot absorb so many nutrients from the directly through the atmosphere. Understanding? So through irrigation, through water only, along with the water only, they can absorb so many nutrients, required nutrients. Understanding? From the soil. Absorption of nutrients from the soil. So it will also done by what? Done through irrigation. So the irrigation water dissolves the nutrients present in the soil to form a solution. Means this water, it can absorb so many substances can dissolve in water. Correct or not? So that is why, so this water can dissolves the nutrients present in the soil, so it will form a solution. Understanding? So this solution of nutrient is then absorbed by the roots for the development of plants. So that is the thing. So this is only, it will be useful for development of plants. So like that, the next necessary is water supplied to the crop during irrigation protects the crop plants from hot air. Protects the crops from hot air. Understanding? Hot air currents as well as frost. Understanding? So also it will protect from the hot airs and frost. So these are the why, these are the points why is irrigation necessary. Understanding? So with this, I'm going to end this today's session, and the next class we're going to study what are the factors affecting irrigation requirements of crops. Irrigation requirement of crops. So we know already this, the irrigation requirements means water requirements of crops depend upon mainly three factors, that is we have already studied. So different crops require different amount of water. So the nature of the crop, that is the factors affecting irrigation requirements of crops. The first one is what? Nature of the crop. And the next one is what? Nature of the soil, means the type of soil where we are cultivating. Like different soils we are having. In class 7th we have studied that. Clay soil, understanding, sandy soil, loamy soil, like that. Correct or not? So like that, depend upon the soil, the nature of the soil also affect the irrigation. Like that. The next one is season, means in which season we are cultivating. Like in summer season, lot of amount of water is required for the crop production because evaporation rate is more, means much sunlight, so water is evaporating very fastly. So these are the three factors which will affect water requirements. So each we will study everything one after one in next class. So this you just remember, factors affecting irrigation requirements of crops, that are nature of the crop, nature of the soil, and seasons. Understanding? So each crops needs a specific amount of water during the various stages of its growth and ripening. Understanding? Growth, ripening the fruits and other different kind of. For the growing stage, when the seed germination, some amount of water. When they're in a normal size, some amount of water. When they're in a what we can say, the teenage, like when they're ready to give the fruits or flowers, then a required amount of water is varies. And when they're in ripening stage, then the amount of water is varying. So each crop needs a specific amount of water during the various stages of its growth and also in ripening. So in the some of the crops they required more water, some of the crops they required very less water. This all we'll study in next class. With this I'm going to end this today's session. Thank you. You please study well.